This segment brought to you by Kansas Regenerative Medicine Center. Your stem cells, your health, your life.
Welcome back. I want to tell you about this next segment we're going to do on Quindaro. Have you ever been there, Frank? Wonderful site in Kansas City, or just north of Kansas City. My friends Holly and Kristin Zane are descendants of the founders of Quindaro. They are two of the most amazing people I've ever met. They're sisters. And Holly, I know I'm going to mess this up, is an attorney for the state of Kansas, and I think she is also the counsel for the Wyandotte Nation. And she's just an amazing historian and just a wonderful person. So when I did the segment a couple of weeks ago or something on the African American Trail that will be going through Kansas, will be designated sites, I did not include Quindaro in the list because I wanted to do a segment on Quindaro. And Kristin kindly reminded me of that, you know, when she saw the segment and said, oh, this is great, but Quindaro's not in it. And so Quindaro is a really special place, and I've been on bus tours when the Underground Railroad Association met in Kansas a few years ago, went on the tour and went to Quindaro, and just some very dedicated people involved in interpreting that site and keeping it alive. It's going to be cool.
It almost became a landfill. The Kansas State Historical Society shares the story. Located on the south bank of the Missouri River in what is now Kansas City, where Interstate 635 crosses the river, lies Quindaro. The land was part of an area the Wyandot Indians had purchased from the Delaware. When the Wyandot tribe disbanded, the land was divided among tribal members who wished to remain in the area and become U.S. citizens. Among these people were Abelard Guthrie and his wife Nancy Quindaro Brown Guthrie, for whom the town was named. When the Wyandots were removed from Ohio to Kansas in 1843, Guthrie decided to follow Nancy and her tribe to Kansas. They married, and he was adopted into the tribe. The town's founders and first residents included other Wyandots and abolitionists. Because it was close to the Missouri River, Quindaro was an ideal location for helping slaves move to freedom. This was more by design than by chance. The population reached 600 at the height of Quindaro's prosperity. But the boomtown quickly went bust, thanks to a nationwide economic depression and the failure of a campaign to attract a rail line to the town. Many of the young men in the community left to join the Union Army in the Civil War. A few families stayed in the area to continue farming, but the original town site was largely abandoned. After the war, several freed African American slaves moved to Quindaro and other Kansas River towns. Freedman's University, later chartered as Western University, was established, and its buildings were erected on a bluff west of Old Quindaro. About a century later, in the late 1980s, a company wanted to build a landfill in the area. It encountered an obstacle when an archeological investigation had to be conducted. Evidence of homes and businesses were found, and a public outcry arose. Artifacts were placed with the Kansas State Historical Society. Passionate supporters, many of whom are descendants of its founders, keep Quindaro alive.
Earlier in my life, I rode bucking horses and rodeos, and my shoulders took such a beating, and that was probably the reason for having several previous surgeries on both shoulders. About a year ago, I decided that I didn't want to have another surgery. And so I contacted Kansas Regenerative Medicine, took their treatment process. It was relatively pain-free. Now, after 8 months, my shoulders have healed to the point where I think I'm probably 90 to 95% of normal. It takes a couple of months to start to see results and feel real progress. That continued to increase gradually until now at approximately 8 months. And I'm extremely pleased. I've got full range of motion. I can lift weights, I can throw, I can do a lot of things that I couldn't do without a lot of pain previously.